Yep, got it.
Okay. Is it recording?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Sorry. I was like, do I not get like kind of a notification? All right, so thanks you guys for being on our first call in June. I am so excited to get to learn from Elena because she is like one of like my OG coaches is what I always call her. Like literally one of the coaches that has been with me from the very beginning almost. I think we've been coaching together, you're going to have to help me, like 4.5 years, 4 years, something like that.
Getting close to 5.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I was going to say you're pretty close to 5 this fall, which is super exciting. And one thing that I've always adored about Elena is she is like one of those people that like is like so like focused on like just being like, I guess perseverance is the one word that I keep thinking of, but she's like one of those people that like she'll set a goal and like non-negotiable and could literally be the last day of the month, but she's going to make it happen somehow. I don't know somehow how she does it some months, but aside from that, I've just seen this like incredible amount of growth from her this year of like an inner kind of thing of like working, kind of just working through things, I guess. And so recently I've seen this like kind of like overcoming of like, not necessarily like constant self-doubt, but this like coming forward and being like, hey, I'm struggling. I need some help. Will you guys help me out? And I think that is something that is like a true testament of a coach that's going to persevere, who's going to go through kind of those like ups and downs that coaching brings out in a lot of us. So I just kind of wanted her to just share her heart with us a little bit, share how she kind of like overcomes these little like obstacles that are going to pop up. Like they're going to happen and in coaching, just like they're going to happen in life. They're going to happen in your day to day. They're going to happen in any business if you start it. So Elena, I'm going to let you go ahead and take over, and hopefully you guys have something to write with, because I think this is going to be not only a great like learning opportunity, but also something that you're going to come back and reflect to and maybe have some takeaways that when you're in kind of like that like valley of coaching, you're going to be able to come back and be like, oh, I remember when Elena said that. Like that's what I need right now. So Elena, go ahead and take it over.
Okay, first of all, I wasn't expecting to cry prior to coming on, so you just have to bear with me. I'm a very emotional, wear my heart on my sleeve kind of person, so I'm going to try to get through this, and hopefully my girls don't come running down and interrupting at any point. So the first things I want to start with is I have 2 questions that I want you guys to always have in the back of your mind. The first one is, what is your mission with coaching? And the second one is, do you believe in it? Like really, really like to the depths of your soul, believe in it. Because I feel like that is truly all that matters in this business, is having those 2 things. Like, do you have a mission and do you believe in it? Because those are the things that will keep you moving forward no matter what. And it's okay if what got your foot in the door was that you wanted to get healthier, you wanted to help people and things like that. But I think it only takes helping one person to know what your mission is. And the more you grow, the more you evolve in this business. That is going to be a fluid thing. You're always going to be changing your mission and your beliefs in what we do, but you should always know what they are. Even if the only person you've helped is yourself. Like, I honestly think that's all it takes, is helping yourself first. Because once you have that place of like where you came from to where you are going or where you are now, that is going to build the foundation of this business for you. And so I want you to take those 2 questions and go into this business the same way you would being a parent, the same way you would if you're not a parent, the way you went going through school, like college, like becoming the person that you are, like with your career and different things like that. Because anything worth having in life is going to have ups and downs. It's going to have twists and turns. It's going to have ins and outs. And you have to know that going into it, because anything worth having takes time, takes grit, takes endurance, takes battles and struggles. You're always going to have those days where you lose it with your kid and you have an emotional breakdown because of it. You're going to have times where you fail a test or don't get the grade that you think you deserved. There's just always going to be things that we're going to have come up in life that we're going to have to say, okay, like, am I going to use this as a reason to quit? Or am I going to lean into this and use it as a way to come back stronger than I ever was before? And I can honestly say that in this business and in all other areas of life, anytime I've gone through a season of struggle or a month of struggle or a week of struggle or whatever, I've always leaned in, because I've never quit things. Like, I do not quit things. Like, I've been like that since I was a little kid. I just don't quit things. I think it's the type A perfectionist in me. Like, I'm like, if I start something, I'm gonna finish it no matter what. And so I've never let those things break me, but I always use them as lessons and ways to, like I said, lean in and learn from them. And I feel like this business has a really, really beautiful way of doing that if we know what our coaching mission is and we believe in it. Because otherwise, if we don't have those foundational beliefs, then it could break us and we could find ourselves wanting to quit, wanting to throw in the towel. But there are people watching us, like, whether we realize it or not, people we might not ever see liking or commenting on our stuff, but they're watching us. And they, I think, can sense when we might be struggling, and they're watching to see if we are going to crumble. Because, and I don't think that that is what Beachbody is all about. I think that Beachbody is like this, the symbol of strength, the symbol of resilience. We always have these ongoing like mottos or themes of like better together, stronger together, like all these things, because that's what being part of Team Beachbody is all about. And so what I want to encourage you guys to do is, if you're in a season of struggle, which I'm sure we have all, like, in some way or another over the last 3 months, or maybe even today, have had these things happen, where we're struggling emotionally, struggling spiritually, mentally, physically, whatever it is. We are going to have those times, but you should not let those setbacks cause you to quit. You should use them as a sign that it's time to make a shift that will allow you to get stronger. So I want to go back to my first year as a coach. It was May of, 2016. I was in a diamond push group and I was gunning for it. Like I think each of us put $40 in a pot, and we're like, whoever got diamond by the first week of June, like would turn diamond like that first week of June, gets a piece of this pot. And we had a decent amount of people in there. I think it was probably over $350 to $400 in that pot. And I was like, dude, I want that, because I am like driven by goals and prizes and things like that. But that was the first month as a coach. I was 9 months into coaching, just about. And that was the first time I didn't hit Success Club. And it broke me, or it could have broken me, but it definitely got to me mentally. I was like, man, I was so focused on that one goal that I lost sight of the bigger picture of what I was meant to do as a coach, which is still helping other people and helping at least 3 people a month. And I'm not going to lie, I think I cried, because I was down to the last day of the month, and the one person I thought was going to sign up fell through the cracks. And I woke up that next day and I saw that I didn't hit Success Club. And yes, I hit diamond. I went diamond that next Thursday. I became an official diamond, but I used that lesson as a learning point. And I went from hitting Success Club 5 every month to Success Club 10. So I didn't use that 1 month of not hitting my goal as a like, oh, I'm not meant to be a coach. Like, I don't think I can do this anymore. Like, throw in the towel. Like, I'm over it. I used it as like, okay, like I lost focus of the bigger picture and what I'm called to do here as a coach. And I took that and I was like, okay, I need to shift gears. I need to change things up. And I came back stronger. That was also, June was also the month that I started making personal development a part of my regular routine. Like I would do it here and there. Like I mostly liked watching like YouTube videos of other coaches, National Wake Up Call, team calls. Like that was kind of my personal development. I hadn't really dug into like the self-help books, podcasts and things like that yet. But we had a group in June with all coaches on our team, and it was like a big like accountability group for coaches. And we read Miracle Morning. And I will swear by that book for as long as I'm a coach. I mean, that wasn't the first book I read, but I feel like that was a turning point in my career as a coach. And it's by Hal Elrod. He has a regular Miracle Morning, and then he has a Miracle Morning for network marketers. But it was at that point that I started shifting gears, and I started developing more of this morning routine and just started taking little things and changing habits. And I feel like that moment and that shift made me come back even stronger than I was before. And I think people that were watching me saw that confidence. They saw that shift within me and they're like, man, like she is beast mode. Like I'm going to join her. Like, why wouldn't I want to do this with her? And I also, after that, I read Made to Crave because I was really trying to overcome some serious struggles with emotional eating and things like that too. And so that was part of the accountability group I was running, and people wanted to join because of that too. So what I have to say is if you're having that season of struggle, like lean into it and don't do this alone, which kind of takes me into my next point. So last month I was having like this big like emotional battle really. We were starting to come out of the whole quarantine thing. I was on the cusp, like our team was on the cusp of this really big goal that would take our team and our businesses to the next level in this industry. And I was seeing other coaches on our team getting this. And while I wasn't comparing myself to them, I was just like, man, like I feel like I'm so close. I just want it so bad. And it was like, it caused me to have like this emotional breakdown. And I could have sat in that. I could have like thrown my own pity party and dwelled on it and let it completely cause me to like spiral downward. But I got in. We have like a Marco Polo with some of the like star diamonds in our team. And I came to them and I was like, I am so proud of every single one of you. And I am celebrating you guys. But I was like, I'm struggling. Like, I feel like I should be at this place and I'm not. And I need your guys' insight. Like, that's ultimately what it came down to. I didn't keep things to myself. Like, I leaned into the leaders on our team because one, we all share our struggles, our successes and everything. But two, like I knew that this wasn't something I could do on my own. I knew that God had given me these women for a reason and I needed to take advantage of that. And so I was like bawling, like sobbing, like ugly crying in this Marco Polo video to these ladies, talking to them about what I was going through. And I was like sharing what was happening. And I was like, ultimately, like, I need your guys' help. Like, if you guys see anything that I'm not doing a good enough job of sharing my story on social media, like, I want your criticism. And there have been times throughout this business that I've come to Megan and asked for the exact same thing, because I think we have we are very good at getting inside of our own heads and overthinking things. Me especially, like I a huge over analyzer my entire life. And so I knew I needed an outside set of eyes, a fresh perspective, because we can kind of get stuck in our ways, and it's hard to get out of that. And especially after like being stuck at home basically for 2 months with kids, like I just felt like I was like not being able to think of anything outside of like being in that little bubble. And so I came to those ladies, and every single one of them gave me some type of tip, some type of advice, and constructive criticism. And I was crying listening to some of them, because while it stung a little bit, I knew it was what I needed. I grew up with tough love. Like my family has never sugarcoated anything. In fact, quite the opposite. Like they will like be pretty dang harsh, like, and make you to the point of cry, but it's made me have thicker skin. And I always know that they are coming from a loving place. And so I knew these ladies on our team were coming from a loving place. And I thanked them for their advice. I took things, bits and pieces here and there, and I slept on it. And it was a Thursday. So it was a recognition day, which is always kind of like, it's one of those days that you either like, oh, like maybe I'm not good at this, but it's also a day that you can take it and be like motivated to change things and do better in the future. And so I slept on it. And the next day I woke up and I had this super clear vision of the kind of women I wanted to serve, the kind of women that I wanted on my team, the kind of women I looked to for inspiration and motivation myself. And if I was drawn to that kind of women, I knew that those are the kind of women that I needed to surround myself with. And so I got in our Marco Polo and I shared with all of those ladies like this clear vision that I had. Like I had sat down and just took pen to paper and just started writing things out, and just letting my ideas flow, because I think having it in paper will always be that like visual that I can go to whenever I feel like I'm struggling, or I go back to that same place that I was before. And I got on and I shared it with them, and they're like, I'm pretty sure every single one of them was like clapping or like fist pumping or like whatever. And they're like, yes, like you need to save this video that you just gave us and watch it back anytime you feel like you need to be reminded or have that refresher of what you just told us, because that is what I see in you. And one of the criticisms I got was, I think Paige said it. She's like, I just feel like you lean too much on your girls. Like, I don't see you as being the mom that like lives behind your kids. I see you as being the mom that like is out in front of them, watching them follow in your footsteps. And I'm trying not to get emotional, but that was what I needed to hear. I felt like it's easy to say that the successes I was having or the things I was accomplishing in this business were inspired by my first daughter. She's a lot of the reason why I started this. But Paige's like, it's okay to say that you're doing this for you. Like, you want this because it's something you feel you are called to do. And yes, your girls are watching you and they're inspired by you, but they are not the reason why you are accomplishing those things. You're the one that's showing up. You're the one that's doing the work. You are the one that's coming to us whenever you're struggling and using it for a way to get stronger. And I was like, yes, like she was right. It wasn't what I wanted to hear, but it was what I needed to hear. And I think that is such a important piece that we all need to know of what it means to be a part of this team. Like, we aren't like regular women. We aren't gonna be like, oh yeah, honey, you look great in that dress, even though you seriously do not. Like, we are gonna give that constructive criticism because we want each other to be better. We want each other to be challenged in the ways we need to be challenged. And that's how my sisters have always been. Like I stopped going to stores and shopping when I got married and moved 1,000 miles away from my family, because I was like, I don't have my sisters anymore. I don't have anyone to say, nope, you look fat in that, don't wear it. And so I just stopped. And like, that's what this team is here for. We are here to build each other up and to help each other to learn and to grow and not stay stuck in the place that we are or that we were. And so I leaned in. I didn't use that season of struggle to allow me to quit. I used that season to be like, okay, I need to do something different. I am having a hard time visually seeing it because I've been stuck in this bubble or in this box for the last 2 months. I need to go to someone that I know is going to tell me exactly what I need to hear, and I'm going to lean into them, because that's what being a part of a team is all about. None of us joined this business to go at it alone. We joined it to be a part of this community. And I think that you need to lean in when you're having success and when you're having struggle. Yes, I know sometimes it's hard because we are very much like this source of positivity, and we're going to sometimes it can, like, I know I was struggling because I was like, man, everyone's celebrating, they're all like cheering each other on, like this is such a happy day. I was like, I don't want to come on to this Marco Polo and cry and vent and share my sob story, but it was something I knew I needed to do because I knew those women would help me to come back stronger and better than I was before. And don't hold back. Like if you hold back, you're going to regret it. Like if I would have gone to bed that night, I probably wouldn't have got much sleep. I probably would have had some weird, crazy dreams. But I shared that with those women, and I woke up the next morning invigorated, energized, and with this crystal clear vision of who I wanted to help. And I'm wearing my team shirt today because like this is what my team encompasses. It says do not quit. And I've had my youngest daughter not long ago, I was wearing this shirt, and she was like, Mommy, is that you? Is that you on your shirt? And I said, does it look like me? And she said, yeah. She's like, it does. She's like, you look strong. And then she was like asking me what the words say. She's like, what does that say? And I said, it says, do not quit. And that was such a powerful thing to me because that's what I feel like I need to represent. I need to do a better job of saying, I am strong. I am powerful. I do not quit. And I look at the women on my team, and I have women on my team that are very different from not everyone, but the majority of everyone else's teams. Like I have women that while they might not have come public with it yet, like they're still working through that. I have women that have overcome domestic abuse. I have women like myself that have gone through some things that I can't always share about, but things like postpartum depression and severe anxiety. I have had women overcome being sexually abused, things like alcoholism or smoking or like all these different things. And people that have these darker pasts and things that could have or might have broken most women, and they use those struggles to become stronger and to use them to overcome and become this better person. And I think that's why I have so many women that like are just showing up for their workouts because they depend on those workouts for their sanity and for their strength. And those are the kind of women I want to work with. I know I shared in our Marco Polo with those ladies too. I was like, the kind of women I'm drawn to are not these like, are not moms for one. Well, they might be, but I don't see that. Because I look at like mommy bloggers and I'm like, I do not relate to them whatsoever. They're all in matching outfits with their hair all done, and that is not me. I'm drawn to the women that are doing pull-ups, that are throwing around like 50-pound barbells, like CrossFit women, like women that like most people would say look like a dude, but those are the kind of women I am drawn to because I love that symbol of strength. Like in high school, I was always the the girl that had no problem hanging with the football guys in the weight room. Like I had no problem trying to lift heavy, trying to like have these little competitions or trash talking or whatever. Like that's just who I am. And so those are the kind of women I want to work with, women that are independent, that are strong, that are confident, and they think they can do the same things guys can do. So that's kind of how I was able to shift gears and go from feeling like I was hiding behind being a mom or using a mom as an easy way to share my story. And I started, it's still an ongoing process because it's hard to like break those habits, but I'm trying to share more of the strong side, the powerful side that I am drawn to and that I want to aspire other women to be. So.
Oh man, that was so good. You got me a little emotional when you were talking about the women on your team, because I know that is like so apart, and like your team misfits, I think is just like perfect. Like it's all perfectly bundled into this little package. And sometimes we have to like go, like take a step back and say, okay, what am I putting out who I want to attract? You know, like I know you spent time creating that name and it's meaningful to you. So I think my question for you, I think you said it, but I want you to be a little bit more explicit on your first thing was asking us what our mission is. How would you, you know, if you have a coach who maybe doesn't have a team, you know, maybe they've helped a couple of women, you know, and maybe a lot of the people they've helped are people that like they know personally. So it's, they may or may not be in their niche, you know, but like, how do you come up with kind of the $1 million question? How do you come up with your mission? Like how do you come to that realization of like, here's who I want to help. Here's what I'm all about.
I honestly think one, getting outside opinions, because sometimes like don't ever hesitate going to your coach because they saw something in you that made them want to ask you to be a coach that you probably still maybe don't see in yourself. And so they are the first place to go to, I think, because they will tell you exactly what they think. And so I would say go there first. You could also ask like family members or close friends or different things like that. But ultimately it's really soul searching and praying and getting into personal development and saying, okay, like think of exactly who you were before you started. Like what were your struggles? What were things that you were going through personally? What were thoughts that were running through your head? And think about like what you were seeking out when you started this. Like, was it energy? Was it confidence? Was it, like me, strength? Like I could care less about being skinny. I just like having muscle, like and feeling strong and not being flabby. So like you have to really think about that, I think. Like I said, you don't have to necessarily have helped all these people. You have to at least have helped yourself or starting to help yourself and starting to see that. And that's why I said that your coaching mission is fluid. It's always going to change as you are changing, and it's going to grow as you are growing. But I think having something that's bigger than just helping people is extremely important, because there are going to be days or months where you don't feel like you are helping anyone, and you need to have that bigger picture mission that will keep you moving forward. And I honestly think it's important to have visuals out too, like pictures. Like I have this picture on my desk. I'm gonna try not to get emotional again, but it's of my girls holding my 1-star diamond flag from Summit last year. And it's right there because every day when mostly every day when we say affirmations together, I always say we are a 5-star diamond team, because that's something I'm like striving towards with our team. And my oldest daughter, every time I say that, she says, I love mommy's flag, because she knows what that flag represents. And she's proud of me for it. Like she even wanted to sit on the Zoom call that I listened to with top coaches yesterday, because she's engaged in what I do. Like she's excited about it. She sees what it means to me. And so like having things like that out that are your why, but also like your mission. Like, I want to show my girls that I don't give up when things get hard. I want to show them that I am strong physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, because before I started this business, I wasn't those things. I didn't believe those things about me. I didn't feel like I could help anyone because I needed to help myself first. And so those are the things I think that you can kind of pull out of your story and make them your mission, because you, like, I think with social media, we can pinpoint the women who we see sharing things, even just like pictures of themselves with their kids or whatever. We can see ourselves in them, like the things that we have gone through, we can see those in them, and we can pull out those struggles. And those are the type of people we want to help, people that we see that are a lot like us. Like, maybe, like for me, it'd be like people that were athletic in their past, or maybe just had some confidence or strength about them before that maybe they lost along the way, and trying to get them back to that place. So that's kind of, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, no, it definitely does. And I love that. Like, sometimes we have to think, we have to like come up with it, you know, like a mission statement. We have to write this mission statement that's like outside of ourselves, but it's so attached to us. Like, but that's really hard sometimes, you know, like it's really hard to like think about ourselves, and it's really hard to like pick out our past struggles, to admit those struggles, to admit that, like, man, I needed help, and here's how I needed help, or why I needed help, and here's how I've changed. You know, like we kind of just like go through the day to day, and we're really bad at self-reflecting, I think. We're really good at like pointing out where, you know, where we fall short, but we don't really self-reflect on the growth and that type of stuff. And so I loved your point of just take some time to like think about, like, what did I struggle with? What have I overcome? What do I still want to overcome? Because ultimately we are, you know, our best storytellers, and that story is so crucial. I love that. Okay. What other questions do you guys have for Elena? Or thoughts?
I know I'm working on developing my own mission statement and making it like clear.
Oh no, Samantha, so you were talking. I heard you, but now it's gone. Okay, Martha said, what are some other books? Oh wait, Samantha, can you keep going?
Is it? I'm sorry. I think it paused up for a minute. My Zoom doesn't work well.
You're good now. Can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay, go for it.
I was just saying that I'm just currently working on developing, you know, a clear, defined mission statement for myself, and, you know, wanting to develop that for, you know, my coaching. That's pretty much it. Any advice? I mean, I was listening to everything you guys were saying, so I was definitely taking notes and taking that advice.
Yeah, I think just asking, like I said before, just asking people close to you, that's something we can talk about too. But personal development is a huge thing, I think, that helps you figure out a little bit more about yourself too, and helps you get to a place of a little more self-reflection, or at least like hearing the things you hear that you are drawn to, like those kind of things, like help trigger parts of your story too, I think.
Speaking of, Martha said, what are some other books or personal development that's made a big difference?
Well, the first book I ever read as a coach was The Compound Effect. And I think I think it's a good book to read as a new coach, because it talks about, it gives you the longevity and the bigger picture vision of what it takes to build something. It talks about how it's just those little things, one day, 1 month, 1 year at a time, and over time they build and they grow. So, and I think it really drives home consistency, like being consistent, showing up every single day, knowing that that helps things to build and to compound on and build this momentum that will kind of carry you through running a business of your own. So I think that one's good. I really like Grant Cardone because, see, I'm drawn to like, and this is why another thing that I put into perspective when it came to like thinking about my mission and like my brand, like I am not drawn to the personal development where people are just kind of like cutesy sounding. Like I want someone that's pretty much yelling at me, because that's how my dad was growing up. Like he used to coach me in 5th and 6th grade basketball. And to this day, my friends, when I go home, still talk about how he would yell all the way down the court, Elena, get your head out of your ass. So like those, I need like that kind of tough love when it comes to running this business. So I love like Rachel Hollis. I love Mel Robbins. Like she is a little bit explicit in her language. She has some books that are on Audible only, where it's basically her doing her life coaching sessions with people, and you're getting to hear like the way she basically just gives it to them hard, but helps them to figure out what their issues are and helps them to overcome those. And then, like I said, Grant Cardone, like 10X rule. And I can't even remember what the other one is now, but just looking at those 3 are probably the biggest ones for me, just because they're not like sugarcoating stuff. Like I need someone that feels like they're like almost yelling in my ear, and you can hear the emphatic in their voice and the passion and the energy in their voice. And I'm like, yes, like they get in my head and they like put those thoughts inside my head. So what works for me might not work for you, but those are just some of the top ones.
I feel like our PD is so similar because I also cannot do like fluffy. I've tried to read some of those like cutesy, like yay, yay, rah, rah type personal development books, and it just doesn't do it for me. And the best example, because I'm about to have this baby, hopefully, I had two delivery nurses whenever I had Rhett. And I had one that was like super cutesy, and she was like, you're doing great. But I could see it all over my doctor's face. I was not doing great. We were making zero progress. I pushed this baby for 3 freaking hours. I could tell I wasn't doing good. And she's like, yay, yay, rah, rah, rah. And then I had this old school nurse who came in at the very end, and she was just yelling at me. She was like, kept slapping my legs, and she was like, bear down, you got this, you can do it. And I tell you, I had that baby in 30 minutes after she came in and started yelling in my face. And I was like, okay, now I get it. I need someone who's going to be hard on me and be that like coach mentality instead of someone who's like, rah, rah, you got this. I was like, no, I don't have it. I need to get this baby out of me right now.
Yeah.
So,
speaking of, I literally bruised the backs of my legs in my first labor because I was grabbing them so hard. And speaking of coaching, we allowed both my mom and my mother-in-law the opportunity to come in if they wanted to. And my mother-in-law, like, I could not look at her. She was like, the whole time I was like, I wanted to say, get this woman out of here. But I was holding my mom's hand, and she was my constant. She was like, you got this. She's like, you are strong. You are powerful. And it's like, like I need those kind of voices in my head, not the like, oh yeah, you can do it. You're going to get a medal no matter what. I'm like, no. And sometimes my husband tells me I'm too hard on my girls. I'm like, well, in our world today, they need some tough love because too many kids now, like, oh.
I love it. Okay, what other questions do you guys have? Oh, Martha, I love that. Yeah, you'll notice that like the more you grow as a coach, the more it affects every little aspect of your life. I agree. Yeah, Lauren, I will be asking for whoever you have on staff right now that is going to be a little harsh. Not mean. I don't like mean people, but someone who's going to coach me instead of cheer me. Okay.
Criticism.
Yeah.
All right. That looks like we might have it all. Elena, super great. Like, if nothing else, I think we're all like super inspired by it. And I love your authenticity and just like being vulnerable with us. Like, I think it's so powerful for us to admit, like, hey, you know, like I struggle sometimes and here's how I overcome it, because it's not about whether or not we struggle. We're going to struggle through this business. We're going to struggle through life. It's like, what do you do with that struggle? Like, where do you move from it? How do you work through it? And you gave us some like super tangible things to do that I think are incredible. Like, I love the, like, go to your coach and like ask, but don't go. You didn't come to us and say, oh, poor me. Like, this is so hard. I think I should quit. You came to us and was like, y'all, I'm not living up to where I want to be. How can I change? Like, you came to us with this, like, I want to do better. How can I grow? Instead of, you know, sometimes we like to like throw our pity parties, or we like to say, oh, poor me, or why, you know, like this isn't working for me. And instead you came with this, like, we're going to grow through this. And I think that's such a powerful thing, that is the reason why you've been here for, you know, so long and helping women every single month. So appreciate it for sure. So I will talk to you guys later and have a great rest of your weekend. Okay. See you guys.